Hey guys, and welcome to this little special video. As most of you might have noticed already, I reached 1000 subscribers, and I'd like to say thank you to all of you guys for watching my videos, leaving likes and valuable comments that either point out certain bugs or that give further ideas to how my systems could be enhanced. Also, I just wanted to thank all of the guys in particular that donated some money to me, which extremely helps me to keep doing what I want to do, and it will definitely lead towards an improvement of the quality of this channel. You can look forward to the next video because I bought a new professional microphone and I hope that I will use it in the next one. Just a general thank you for supporting my work, and of course I've got something for you, which is a dialogue system that I actually already showcased once. Those of you who remember the showcase video might also know that it was created for an actual game that was in production, but I just had the feeling that the people behind that weren't too serious about the project and they didn't contact me for quite some months. So I left the project, and so I thought that it would be a good idea to give out this project for free. And yeah, for the ones that didn't watch the showcase video, let me just very quickly show you what it's capable of. So when we hit play here, you can go and have an NPC walking around, walking path here. If we press E, welcome to the showcase of the dialogue system. There will be sound and a message appearing. Also, if you want to talk to NPCs that are story relevant, when a dialogue is finished, you can either hit enter or spacebar to continue. The text will be displayed like that. Some dialogues like this. Further, you can change the camera, and as you can see, you can also change the camera angle or using smooth transitions. After the last message, the screen will fade to black and the player can move again. Okay, then another feature that I've got in here are decisions. If you talk to this guy, he will show different options, and then the last thing that I've got are time limited decisions. So let's see what they do. Some decisions that heavily influence the story can also have a custom time limit. After the time has expired, the currently selected option will be confirmed. Here is an example. What do you want to do? So we've got a true option and the time is running down here. You can decide between those two, and when the time is run out, the currently selected one will be locked in. That was the showcase video for my dialogue system. I hope you liked it. Okay. Also, I'd like to show you very quickly how to use and customize the system, which is actually really easy, and you don't even really need programming or blueprint knowledge for that. It's just about changing some variables. So let's do that. If you want to create one of those casual NPCs that are not too relevant for the story, you would just have to go to the dialog system folder on the blueprints, AI, and drag in a BP casual citizen. Then, when you select him in the level, you can scroll down, and here you have the default category with all the variables that you can define here to change its behavior. For casual NPCs, you don't want to check is important. If you do that, some fancy things will happen, like the screen fading to black and so on. Then you've got an array of all the dialogues that this guy should display, so let's add some here. When we add an element, you will see that you will need an audio file and the spoken text, which basically is just the subtitle. So let's see what audio files I've got here. Maybe 9. Some dialogues, like this one, can be skipped after a certain amount of seconds. Okay, yeah, we could use that, though it doesn't really make sense. Just use that, showcase 9. And then you'll have to type in the spoken text, which is some dialogues, like this one, can be skipped after a certain amount of seconds. Also add a second one. This time we'll use, let's say, 17. Here's an example of various options. Okay, so 17. The text there is, here is an example of various options. So we've got our two dialogues here. If you want to add more, you can of course do that. Then you've got a selection type. Either the next dialogue will be selected in an order, so it will be 0, then 1, and afterwards it will start at the beginning. Or you can have them be selected randomly, so you don't know which dialogue will be the next one to show. I'll just use order for now. Then you can define a walking path. So if you want to do that, you want to use the patrol point blueprint class that I created here. So you can just drag those in. Patrol point 4, and then we will add one here, 5, and the next one here. He will go to 4, then to 5, and then to 6, like the NPC. And under walking path, we will create 3 elements. First patrol point 4, then 5, then 6. Also you need to check the has walking path. Then you can give the NPC a name. Let's call him Luke or whatever you like. That will be shown in a widget when you're close to interact with the NPC. Important dialogues, dialogue player location, has custom behavior, and first camera actor. You don't have to worry about those if you're just doing a casual NPC. And the last boolean is also important. Stop moving when talking. It's basically what it says. So if we talk to the NPC, should he just keep on moving or should he stop and turn towards us? Let's check it for now and see what we've got here. Okay, so here's the one we created. It's Luke. And there he walks. If you press E, some dialogues like this one can be skipped after a certain amount of seconds. He says his first message, and here you also notice that he turned towards us. If you go to him again, an example of various options. There's the second message, and if we talk to him once more, some dialogues like this one can be skipped after a certain amount of seconds. He will start all over again. So if we select him and just change some settings here, so selection type to random maybe, then we will uncheck has walking path and uncheck stop moving when talking. Let's play again. So now he's just staying there. If we hit E, some dialogues like this one can be skipped after a certain amount of seconds. That was the first message. Here's an example of various options. And as you've seen right now, he repeated the second message twice, which just shows us that it was selected randomly. Now let's modify him to be an important NPC. So first off, we will clear our walking path, since we just want him to stay around. Then we can also clear the dialogues, because this array is only used for those default dialogue messages appearing above the head. Oh, let's move him somewhere here, because I haven't placed any camera such stuff there yet, so you'll see what it's doing. Let's rotate him around. And now we will check is important. And if you do that, you will use the important dialogues array. So let's add an element here. Search an audio file here. Welcome to the showcase of the dialogue system. Yeah, let's just use showcase 1. And the spoken text is welcome to the showcase of the dialogue system. Afterwards you can define a sender name, which in this case would just be the name of the NPC, so it will be Luke. And here you can define whether the message can be skipped or not. You might want to do that if the players of your game are not that interested in story. I'll do that for the second dialogue that we'll add soon. If it can be skipped, you can also define an amount of seconds after which the dialogue can be skipped. Then we've got a switch to new camera, so when this message is displayed, should the camera perspective change? And if it's set to true, you will have to define a new camera, as well as a blend time, so the amount of time during which the camera perspective is changed. You can use that to create some smooth transitions if you like. Another thing that you can do is that you don't know from which side player interacts with the NPC. But if you have cameras around here, you want your player to always be at a certain location when he talks to the NPC, so you can see that in your camera. To do that, you would just search for a target point, move that somewhere here in front of the NPC, and then you would, here you've got the dialog player location, and then you could just pick actor from scene and select that target point here. So the player will be put at this location when the dialogue starts. Also, you will have to define a first camera actor. So let's add a camera here. And you can adjust the angle and such. That's camera actor 2, so let's select the NPC again, and the first camera actor will be camera actor 2. So you'll need to move that target point up. Check the switch to new camera, and the new camera will be camera actor 2. Welcome to the showcase of the dialogue system. Okay, so we've got our message here, and we cannot move the camera anymore. When the audio has completed playing, you will see that little arrow in the lower right corner, which indicates that you can continue. That's the last message, so the screen will fade to black and we can move again. Let's add another important dialogue here. Let's just use second audio. And the spoken text is, this is the second message. Sender name will again be Luke. This time we will set it up so that it can be skipped. Let's say after 0.5 seconds. We don't want to switch to a new camera. And let's see what we get. So here's the first showcase message. Of the dialogue system. This is the second. And you see that I press enter and that dialogue was skipped. Of course, if you want to, you can also play around with switch to new camera and the blend time. But there are other things that I just wanted to show you, and that is how to add decisions. So if we want to do that, we want to get rid of our casual citizen. And what we'll do instead is create a new child Drupal class of our BP custom NPC and call that BP underscore Luke. Drag it in here. Turn him around. And then we'll open up the class. Go to the event graph. Let's first define our default variables. So it will be an important one. And check the has custom behavior. We will uncheck has walking path, and that's it for the settings. Then there are some events that you'll have to override. So event after conversation setup. So that's basically when the conversation is set up, just like it says. And then you can add the first dialog message. So what we'll do here is add dialog, add custom important dialog. Can set the index to 0 and it's asking for a dialog, so let's split that. Here you will have the same settings as always. So let's use showcase 01 and welcome to the showcase of the dialog system. Sender name will be Luke. Oh yeah, I forgot to set the name to Luke. Okay, so that's the way of adding dialogues in a blueprint. If we close it, select our actor here, and the player location will be, dialog player location will be our target point 4. First camera actor will be camera actor 2. If we play, you can see that's working. Welcome to the showcase of the dialog system. Just as it worked when we used variables instead. But we want to modify our behavior further. So when the first message is finished, we want to show a decision. And to do that, we want to use event on dialog end. Then you will have an index here. That index will be the one you defined when you added the custom dialog, so it will be 0. And let's add a switch here. Start index will be 0, and we will add one pin. it will not have a default pin. So when it's 0, meaning that we continue this dialog here, we will add decision. Again, you can set the index to something wherever you like, just remember that. And it's a different index than the one used for normal dialogues. Then you will have to make decision info. It's asking for a dialog, options, has time limit, and the time limit. So let's split the dialog. Here's an example of various options. 17 should work fine. And the text is here is an example of various options. Sender name again Luke. We don't want it to be skipped. We don't want to switch to a new camera either. Then it's asking for the options that you have, and there you have to make an array. Let's say there are 3 options, and for all of those you will have to split the struct pin. Every option has a text. If you want to, you can use an icon for that. It will have a category, and yeah, that's it. So let's say the first option is just first option. It won't have an icon, category will be default. The second one will be second option. Let's say this time it belongs to a main quest, but we won't use an icon. And then we've got the third option. We can set that to be of the quest category and give it an icon such as the end dialog icon. Okay, so those are our 3 options. We won't use a time limit for now. And we also want to define what happens when we made a decision. So event decision, event on decision made you will use. You've got the decision index, which is 0, and then the chosen option index. So 0 if it's first option, 1 if it's second option, and so on. So we will use a switch again for the decision index, and uncheck has default pin, then add 1 for 0. And what you would also want to do is switch based on the chosen option index if you want to execute custom functionality based on what option was used. But I would just do the same thing for all of those, and that's just end conversation. Okay, let's see whether it's working. Hit play. Welcome to the showcase of the dialog system. So that was a normal message, and then here's an example of various options. There's our decision. We can either select first option, the second option, which is colored orange because it's related to main quest, and then the third one that's colored blue and that has the end dialog icon that we specified. Now I can select those by clicking or by using the arrow keys and hitting enter, or you can also hit the number key. Right now all of those will do the same thing, which is just to end the conversation. If you want to execute custom functionality based on what option was taken, you would just open up the blueprint, go to your event on decision made, and for the chosen option index you will add a second switch, connect that to the first one, uncheck has default pin, and this time the start index will be 1, so that's the first option. Let's add 2 more, 1, 2, 3. We will just print something. First one will be, let's just say 1, second one will say 2, and the third one will say 3. Afterwards we will end the conversation, no matter which option was taken. Welcome to the showcase of the dialog system. Here's an example of various options. Okay, so we've got our options again. Let's hit the second one, and it prints out 2. And you can replace those, print strings, and do something much more fancy than I did here. Alright, that's it for this video. Download link will of course be in the description. I hope you like it and have fun with this little dialog system.